So I'm at dinner with 15 students and Professor Karen. Professor Karen is treating everyone to dinner because the second year graduate students are graduating, and we had a lot of great discussions in the class, and it's a great way to end this semester. So Derod, Jurek, and myself sit on one side of the table, and then everybody else fills in. And yes, we are the three black students, but that's neither here nor there. So I order a water, lemon, squeeze, splash, right? And out the corner of my eye, I see an old white couple approaching, waving and smiling. So y'all know it's getting ready to be some shit. So they get closer and the white lady says, "Oh my God, can we have your autograph?" Blink, blink, confusion. You know what? She must not have her glasses on. Cataracts. But then she says, "You all must be Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, and Serena Williams." Oh, hell no. I know little Lumpy and Bumpy ain't came over here roasting and stereotyping when they 2 seconds from turning into dust. So I look at Derod, he pissed. I look over at Jerica, she laughing out of awkwardness. And then I look down at Professor Karen, and her eyes is big, mouth wide open. She's completely red, but she knows she better interject soon because this can either go left and she gonna have to bail out her 3 black students, or this might go right and she gonna have to literally pick Bonnie and Clyde up out the grave. So I get ready to go like this, and Professor goes, "Excuse me, ma'am, sir. These are not celebrities. These are graduate students, and they just got their master's degrees, and it's a huge accomplishment." She really don't sound like that, but you know for a fact. All right, so tell me why little Ricky Ricardo and Lucille Ball pull out pen and paper and refuse to leave until they get some kind of signature. So we basically just draw a line across the paper, all 3 of us. That way we can send little Pinky and the Brain on their way. Then I look back down at the end of the table and everyone is literally shooketh. Now this story is important because this class was called Performing Identity. And so in this class, we talked about how we perform identity through hair, clothes, language, and even race, and so much more. And so within these discussions, especially around race, we would talk about our experiences and racism and things like that. And sometimes the white students in the class would say, "Really? Are you sure that's what they meant? I don't know if that exactly happened. Maybe they meant this." And we had to tell them, your intent versus what's happening are 2 different things. We know you are not intending to be problematic, but what's happening is that you are hella problematic. And so basically, as we broke it down, we just had to explain to them, just because our experiences don't fit the status quo, don't make them less important. And, talking about the validity of our experiences and really, it was the first time I had ever experienced a white professor who had chose all the material by, people of color. Like all the literature was by people of color, and which, created conversations that surrounded that. And it made a lot of people uncomfortable, but it was very, necessary. And I was hella grateful for that. And I tell that story because that was like a full circle moment where I say karma came in. It really made our experiences valid for people who may not have believed or didn't quite understand. And they got to experience that firsthand. And really, for some of the white students, it was the first time that they could not separate themselves from black skin. And for the people who's always like, "Well, if this happened, I would do this or this." In that moment, it really tests your true character, your values and morals. Are you going to be the person who speaks up and defend the people, who are being targeted? Or are you just going to sit there in shock and in silence? And everybody was shocked and silent, except for Professor Karen. She finally spoke up and used her voice, and that's why I'm forever grateful. And it was a bittersweet moment because while, we were experiencing this microaggression, it was sweet because it made our experiences valid once again. And so moving forward, my relationship with Professor Karen was awesome. And I got to work with her on Derod's performance piece that he originally wrote, which was called The Soul Food Museum. And she gave us a lot of tips and helped us along the way. And then my second year at the end, I worked with her on a play about Trayvon Martin and race. She became a personal mentor of mine, and she also was the main editor on my final thesis paper. And so as I graduated and finished all my coursework, I didn't have anywhere to go. And Professor Karen, as we bonded over the 2 years and worked together, I eventually confided in her and told her about me being homeless 4 different times in my life. And the first time had been when I was 7 years old and things like that. And so she didn't have to, but she offered her house as a place to stay for me. And I accepted, and I was so grateful. And while I was living there and I had recently graduated and I was staying there rent free and she allowed me to just work and save up money, I still had to wrap up my final thesis. And I had trouble telling this part of the story, and I had to redo it so many times because I didn't want so much emotion to come through. But at the end of my journey of graduating UNI, and as I was wrapping up my thesis paper, Professor Karen didn't know that I was going through or experiencing racial battle fatigue, and I was mentally exhausted. Because I was supposed to do a PhD program. Someone from Nebraska had reached out, and I was supposed to go immediately into my PhD, and I didn't because I was just tapped out. And not only did she offer her home to me, she left with her husband, Harry. They went and taught for a whole semester at another college. And she had me watching her house. Jerica even moved in at one point. And literally, we just took care of her house rent-free. Came back, we were editing as working together as she was going. And when she came back, I finished. And I just never got to say thank you and tell her this, that you literally willed me back to life. And I am forever grateful for that. I had never experienced anything like that, but I could no longer find it for myself, and I am just forever grateful. And thank you for allowing me to share my story. And this will be a first time that you hear it, but I am grateful. Thank you all for listening. Peace, love, and hair grease. I'm out.